भूतकल्पनाजाला गम्भीरोदारमूर्तये नमः समन्तभद्राय समन्तस्फुरणत्विषे. Good. So now we start again with the refuge and Bodhicitta, and this we say together. Buddham cha dharmam cha ganottamam cha yavadhi bodhim sharanam prayami danadikrityascha kritairmayebhir buddho bhaveyam jagato hitaya. Buddham cha dharmam cha ganottamam cha yavadhi bodhim sharanam prayami danadikrityascha kritairmayebhir buddho bhaveyam jagato hitaya. Buddham cha dharmam cha ganottamam cha yavadhi bodhim sharanam prayami danadikrityascha kritairmayebhir buddho bhaveyam jagato hitaya. Sattva sukhena samprayujyeran sattva dukkena viyujyeran sattva sukhena na viyujyeran sattva hitam labheran sattva sukhena samprayujyeran sattva dukkena viyujyeran sattva sukhena na viyujyeran sattva hitam labheran sattva sukhena samprayujyeran sattva dukkena viyujyeran sattva sukhena na viyujyeran sattva hitam labheran. So now we can say once the whole Bodhicharyavatara chapter 1, and I will try to go through it again just once, a kind of revision. Sugata, and we do repeating. This one we do repeating. Sugatan sasutan sadharmakayan pranipatya darato khilans chavandyan sugatatmaja samvaravataram kathayishyami yathagamam samasat. Nahi kimchidapurvamatra vachyam nacha sangrantana kaushalam mamasti ataeva name parartha chinta swamano vasayitum krutam mayedam mamata vadanena yati vruddhim kushalam bhavayitum prasada vegaha athamat samadhatureva pashyed aparopyena matopi sarthakoyam chana sampadiyam sudurlabha pratilabdha purushartha sadhani yadinatra vichintyate hitam punarapyesha samagamah kutaha ratrau yatha meghaghanandhakare vidyukshanam darshayati prakasham buddhanubhavena tatha kadachil लोकस्य पुण्येषु मतिः क्षणं स्यात् तस्मात् शुभं दुर्बलमेव नित्यम् बलं तु पापस्य महत्सु घोरम् तज्जीयतेऽन्येन शुभेन केन सम्बोधिचित्तं यदि नाम न स्यात् कल्पाननल्पान् दृष्टं मुनीन्द्रैर्हितमेतदेव यतः सुखेनैव सुखं प्रवृद्धम् उत्प्लावयत्यप्रमितान् जनौघान् भवदुःखशतानि तर्तु अपि सत्त्वव्यसनानि हर्तु कामैः बहुसौख्यशतानि भोक्तु न विमोच्यं हि सदैव बोधिचित्तम् भवचारकबन्धनो वराकः सुगतानां सुत उच्यते क्षणेन स नरामरलोकवन्दनीयो भवति स्मोदित एव बोधिचित्ते अशुचिप्रतिमामिमां गृहीत्वा जिनरत्नप्रतिमां करोत्यनर्घाम् रसजातमतीव वेदनीयम् सुदृढं गृह्णत बोधिचित्तसंज्ञम् बहुमूल्यं जगदेकसार्थबाहैः गतिपत्तनविप्रवासशीलाः सुदृढं गृह्णत बोधिचित्तरत्नम् कदलीव फलं विहाय याति क्षयमन्यत् कुशलं हि सर्वमेव सततं फलति क्षयं न याति प्रसवत्येव तु बोधिचित्तवृक्षः कृत्वापि पापानि सुदारुणानि यदाश्रयादुत्तरति क्षणेन शूराश्रयेणेव महाभयानि नाश्रीयते तत्कथमज्ञसत्त्वैः युगान्तकालानलवन्महान्ति पापानि यन्निर्दहति क्षणेन यस्यानुशंसानमितानुवाच मैत्रेयनाथः सुदनाय धीमान् तद्बोधिचित्तं द्विविधम् विज्ञातव्यं समासतः बोधिप्रणिधिचित्तं च बोधिप्रस्थानमेव च गन्तुकामस्य गन्तुश्च यथा भेदः प्रतीयते तथा भेदो नयोर्ज्ञेयो यथा संख्येन पंडितैः बोधिप्रणिधिचित्तस्य संसारेऽपि फलं महत् न त्वविच्छिन्नपुण्यत्वं यथा प्रस्थानचेतसः यतः प्रभृत्यपर्यन्त सत्त्वधातुप्रमोक्षणे समाददाति तच्चित्तम् अनिवर्त्येन चेतसा ततः प्रभृतिसुप्तस्य प्रमत्तस्याप्यनेकशः अविच्छिन्नाः पुण्यधाराः प्रवर्तन्ते नभः समाः इदं सुबाहुपृच्छायां सोपपत्तिकमुक्तवान् हीनाधिमुक्तिसत्त्वार्थं स्वयमेव तथागतः शिरशूलानि सत्त्वानां नाशयामीति चिन्तयन् अप्रमेयेन पुण्येन गृह्यते स्म हिताशयः किमुताप्रमितं शूलम् एकैकस्य जिहीर्षतः अप्रमेयगुणं सत्त्वम् एकैकं च चिकीर्षतः कस्य मातुः पितुर्वापि हिताशंसेयमीदृशी देवतानां ऋषीणां वा ब्रह्मणां वा भविष्यति तेषामेव च सत्त्वानां स्वार्थेऽप्येष मनोरथः नोत्पन्नपूर्वस्वप्नेऽपि परार्थे सम्भवः कुतः सत्त्वरत्नविशेषोऽयम् अपूर्वो जायते कथम् यत्परार्थाशयोऽन्येषं न स्वार्थेऽप्युपजायते जगदानन्दबीजस्य जगद्दुःखौषधस्य च चित्तरत्नस्य यत्पुण्यं तत्कथं हि प्रमीयताम् हिताशंसनमात्रेण बुद्धपूजा विशिष्यते किं पुनः सर्वसत्त्वानां सर्वसौख्यार्थमुद्यमात् दुःखमेवाभिधावन्ति दुःखनिस्सरणाशयाः सुखेच्छयैव सम्मोहात् स्वसुखं घ्नन्ति शत्रुवत् यस्तेषां सुखरङ्काणां पीडितानामनेकशः तृप्तिं सर्वसुखैः कुर्यात् सर्वाः पीडाश्छिनत्ति च नाशयत्यपि सम्मोहं साधुस्तेन स्तमः कुतः Kuto va tadrusham mitram punyam va tadrusham kutaha Krateyah pratikurvita sopi tavat prashasyate Abhyaparita sadhustu Bodhisattvah kimucyatam Katipaya jana satradayakaha Kushalakrat ityabhipujyate janaihi Kshanamashanakamatra Saparibhavam divasardhayapanat Kimuniravadi sattva sankhya Niravadi kalamanuprayachataha Gagana jana parikshaya kshayam Sakalamanoratha samprapuranam Iti satrapattau jinasya putre Kalusham swe hridaye karoti yascha Kalushodaya sankhya sakalpan Narakeshva vasatiti natha aha Atayasya manah prasadameti Prasavettasya tatodhikam phalam Mahatahi balena papakam Jinaputreshu shubham tvayatnataha Tesham sharirani namaskaromi Yatroditam tadvarachittaratnam Yatrapakaropi sukhanubandhi Sukhakaram stan sharanam prayami So it comes to my mind that actually, although I'll try to record it again, but in fact, if, as I hope, you will take up a recitation of the Bodhicharya Avatara, this particular video contains all the verses. So you could use this video if you have doubts, and this could help you recite. Okay, now we will go through all the verses once again. The first verse is called Mangala Charana. It means auspicious beginning. And once again, this contains, first of all, an act of reverence, of homage, in the form of a prostration to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, understood in a Mahayana context, and therefore the Sangha must contain the Bodhisattvas. And to make it explicitly, the Sangha is indicated by the word Sutta, which means sons of the Buddha. And the Dharma, I have mentioned, when we take refuge in a Mahayana sense, it must include the Mahayana Sutras, especially often we keep in mind the perfection of wisdom, the Prajna Paramita, which is the mother of all the Buddhas. Also, he prostrates to all the people worthy of reverence, and in this case the commentator explains that this is like the teacher and monastic preceptor, Acharyan Upadhyaya, and then it tells us the subject matter, which is Sugatatmaja Samvaravatam, how to engage or enter into the vows or practices of the Bodhisattvas, the Sugata Atmaja, which means those who are born from the Buddha, the sons of the Buddha. And he's going to tell it in accordance with the scripture or the traditional text, the Agama, which here refers to primarily the Mahayana Sutras. Samasat, in brief. So this is the advantage, that what we find scattered throughout many Mahayana Sutras, we actually have in the Bodhicharyavatara all in one place. Still we might ask, well, but there is no special new meaning here, so why should we read it? And Shantideva's reply is basically, I don't expect someone to find it useful. So he said, because there's nothing new to be said, I'm not good at composing books, so I don't speculate that it will help others, but I still do this because it's going to influence my own mind. How is that going to happen? What is going to happen? Well, the force of my resolve to cultivate what is virtuous is going to increase. And if by any chance somebody else who has a similar nature as my own sees this, then through that too, this will become useful. Then we have some verses which work as a kind of introduction to taking up Bodhicitta. The first verse of this introduction tells us that it's very hard to obtain the Kshana Sampat, the perfection of the moment, the perfect opportunity, which means being born in the higher realms within a specific situation that makes it possible to practice the Dharma, and there especially to take up Bodhicitta. This is also the emphasis here, that we have to reflect that our situation allows us to do that, and that's extremely rare. And if we don't reflect about it, then how is this going to happen again? So, meaning that if we don't take up the practice of a Dharma, then the conditions for these fortunate circumstances to arise again are unlikely to appear for a very, very long time. Then he offers a simile. The simile is about dark night, full of clouds, everything is very dark, and suddenly there is a flash of lightning and we see everything very clearly. So similarly, just for a brief moment, the mind of people can turn towards what is virtuous. So and that is thanks to the positive influence of the Buddhas. So if we reflect from that point of view, even when we have positive circumstances, the chance that our mind really turns towards the Dharma and turns towards Bodhicitta is not so high, and therefore we should prize it. Also, if we consider this, that we don't often think of virtue, that means that the force of our virtue is small, and the force of our accumulated non-virtue from beginner's samsara is probably quite strong. So how can we overcome it? We need something which is tremendously meritorious. What is the greatest merit? Bodhicitta. So how can we overcome all these non-virtue that we accumulated from beginner's samsara? Through Bodhicitta. Then the next verse tells us that the Buddhas themselves, after reflecting for a very long time, many eons, have found that only this is of benefit. This Bodhicitta, through happiness increased by happiness alone, is going to rescue immeasurable masses of beings. And here, the important point which the commentator makes is that don't think that what has just been said is in contradiction with the idea that a bodhisattva has to undergo hardship. Yes, the Bodhisattva has to undergo many different types of hardships, such as giving one's eyes, etc. But that is done gradually, and when the Bodhisattva does it, that's a Bodhisattva who has already some realization, and for that type of Bodhisattva, even that is just an occasion for happiness. So that is a point that the commentator stresses. Then we have a verse telling us the different purposes which are accomplished by Bodhicitta. So one is that one will cross all the suffering of samsara. Another one is that one will remove the suffering of other sentient beings. And thirdly, even within samsara, one will have favorable, pleasant circumstances, thanks to the merit produced by Bodhicitta. So one will have a continuum of good rebirths. Next is an immediate result of Bodhicitta, kshanena, in one instant. So as soon as one gives rise to Bodhicitta, to this thought of becoming a Buddha for all sentient beings, a person who was just a wretched being inside the prison of samsara, bound by the mental affliction, that moment that person is called son of the Buddhas. He is born, or she is born, in the family of the Buddhas, and is worthy of being worshipped by humans and gods. That is the result in one instant. So it has this very amazing transformative power in one moment. If we look at the transformative power over time, then the next verse points out that what Bodhicitta does is that it takes up our impure frame, so our human body or ordinary sentient being body, and transforms it into the invaluable jewel frame of a Buddha. So what can transform an ordinary sentient being into a Buddha, where even the features of his body are just symbols of virtue, is Bodhicitta. Then we have some similes. Again, this was a simile of the like a philosopher's stone or a precious potion which can transform base metal into gold. The next simile is the simile of a precious jewel, and here sentient beings are compared to merchants, or rather to people who go around the towns, which are the various realms, the 6 realms of rebirth, and through the money, which is good and bad karma, they buy this and that thing. What should we try to buy in all this samsara? We should try to buy Bodhicitta, because the only caravan leaders means those people who led a group of merchants, for example, who were in search of jewels. Sometimes they went to the great ocean by boat at very great risk. They tried to find jewels from the Nagas. The Nagas are supposed to have jewels. So they went to find these jewels at great personal risk, and they had a Saratavaha, the leader of this caravan. So who are the leaders of the caravan leaders for us? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And they find that Bodhicitta is extremely valuable. So if you want a jewel that we can buy through our merit, it should be Bodhicitta. Another example is the tree. All our merit is like a plantain tree. We do something meritorious, then when the causes and conditions come about, sometimes after many lifetimes, this merit is going to give a certain result. Once it has given that result, there is no more continuum of that efficacy. So it's just like the plantain tree. If you observe a plantain tree, it gives its fruit and then it dies. But bodhicitta is a type of merit which gives fruit constantly and never decays. So this refers more specifically, and this is an important clarification of the commentator, when we do an act of virtue, we should do the dedication of merit. This dedication of merit connects that virtue to Buddhahood. So it's like a drop of water when it is in the ocean versus a drop of water when it is on dry ground. So for that reason, that's one of the reasons why whenever we do some virtue, we should do a perfect dedication. A dedication as well as we can, we should do the dedication. Then the next simile is the simile of the hero, resorting to a great hero. Let's say that we are being chased by dangerous people, but we know somebody who's super strong, so strong that as soon as we go under the protection of that person, all these people are going to just leave us alone at that very moment. Now, this kind of effect we can have from bodhicitta in the sense that whichever very negative acts we might have done, so whichever very negative karma we might have accumulated, we can protect ourselves from much of its negative results just by resorting to bodhicitta, because bodhicitta creates this infinite merit. This is stressed even further in the next half verse, where it is said that in one instant, just like the fire at the end of a world cycle, it burns even very, very great sins. And then, I think you remember, there was a discussion here. There was 3 solutions to explain what this exactly means. Either we take it that it doesn't really destroy that negative karma, literally, but that negative karma becomes like a small quantity of salt in the ocean, because bodhicitta is such a great merit that it offsets the efficacy of that karma. The other possibility is that when the Buddha said that no karma is destroyed without being experienced, he was referring only to those people who do not have the method of bodhicitta. And therefore, if somebody has the method of bodhicitta, yes, they can actually destroy it. Third possibility is that when we say this, we have to distinguish between karma of fixed and karma of non-fixed maturation. And this regards only the karma of non-fixed maturation. That's a discussion in the commentary. Then there is a reference to how Maitreya, who's the great bodhisattva, the next Buddha, spoke about the qualities of bodhicitta to Sudhana in the Gandavyuha Sutra, and he spoke infinite praises of bodhicitta, and we read a little bit of that. Like, for example, it's the seed for all the Buddha's qualities. It's the field for the growth of all the good dharmas in the world. It's like the earth, because it's what the whole world resorts to it. It's like a father, because it protects all the bodhisattvas. It's like Vaishravana, the god of wealth, because it cuts away all poverty. It's like the Chintamani. Chintamani is the wish-fulfilling jewel, because it brings about all purposes, and is like the good pot, Bhadragata, because it can fulfill all wishes, and it's like a great force, like an army, because it can defeat the enemies, and the enemies are mental afflictions. So these are some of the praises that Maitreya expressed to Sudana. Then, after that, we introduce the subdivision of Bodhicitta into the Bodhichitta of Aspiration, which means, for the sake of protecting all sentient beings, may I become a Buddha, and so it is a kind of intention, it's a kind of wish. And the second one is the Bodhiprasthanam, or the Bodhicitta of setting forth, which is when we actually start practicing the six perfections. And if you want to understand the difference between the two, the difference is just like the difference between somebody who wishes to go somewhere and someone who starts going there. In respect to these two, the first one already produces a very great amount of merit within samsara. Within samsara means that it ensures a continuity of good births. And in this connection, the example given was the example of the diamond. The diamond is still the best jewel even when it is not adorned by a golden ornament. Similar, Bodhicitta remains Bodhicitta even when it is not adorned by the actual practice of the six perfections. And in this connection, there was also this example, or rather this story, of how the Buddha told a king. A king is the example of someone who's extraordinarily busy. He told the king, even if you don't have time to practice the six perfections, just develop the Bodhicitta of Aspiration and remember it. Be mindful of that Bodhicitta again and again and again during the day. Like, think of it again and again. There's some more detail, but in brief, that seemed to be the main point. And he mentioned that, well, thanks to the maturation of the root of merit of Bodhicitta, many times you will be born among deities and humans, and in all those cases you will be a sovereign. This is already great merit, but it does not compare to the merit of the Bodhicitta of setting forth. When one takes a Bodhicitta, actually putting it together with the practice of the perfections, from that moment onwards, even if the person is sleeping, even if the person is distracted, even if the person has fainted, each and every moment there are masses of merit are produced which equal the sky, so infinite masses of merit. So this is even a much greater amount of merit. Who said this? The Buddha. Where did he say that? In the questions of Subahu Pracha. How did he say that? By offering reasons. Whom did he say this to? Towards people who had this inclination towards what is lesser. What does it mean when we say what is lesser? Shravakam Pratyeka Buddha vehicle. Why is it lesser? Because those people could practice the Mahayana. This was said for people of non-fixed lineage. You remember we had this discussion? Yeah? So for those people, practicing the Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha vehicles would be a lower aspiration because they have the potential to actually practice the Mahayana, which will bring more benefit to more sentient beings. So to those people, the Buddha offered some upapatti, some rationale to explain that Bodhicitta of setting forth actually produces this extraordinary merit. What is the rationale? Well, this is explained in verse 21-22, probably that's the main one, which is, even if somebody just thinks, I am going to remove the headaches of sentient beings, and this means of a limited number of sentient beings, that person, by thinking that, by having that wish for benefit, is seized by an immeasurable amount of merit. So it's already a lot of merit to have that wish. Then what should we say of the merit of somebody who wishes to take each and every sentient being and remove all their suffering and help them to become endowed with all good qualities? That means it has to be really an infinite merit. Then there is an explanation which makes us reflect on how much merit this must be in terms of the rarity of this kind of intention. So we have the example of those sentient beings that normally we consider to be more compassionate, most well-wishing. So he says, even if you think of a mother, a father, or some deities, or some seers, or some Brahma deities, well, even them whom we really regard as being genuine well-wishers, do they have the same amount of good wish as Bodhicitta? And the answer is no. Why don't they have that? Because those sentient beings do not have that wish even for themselves. So how could they have it for others, even in a dream? Or they don't have it for themselves even in a dream, how could they have it for others? So they don't wish for liberation for themselves, how are they going to wish it for others? They don't wish to endow themselves with all the qualities of Buddhahood, how could they have that wish for others? So this highlights several things. It highlights that Bodhicitta is a very specific wish for benefit. It's not just a generic wish for benefit. When we say Bodhicitta, it means we wish to become Buddhas for the sake of all sentient beings. And we wish them to be completely free from the suffering of samsara. We don't just wish them to have a kind of pleasant life or some kind of temporary happiness. It's a much more specific wish. Secondly, the second point that seems implicit in this is that to have Bodhicitta, one needs to understand Naishkramya, what we normally translate as renunciation, or more specifically, the wish to go out of samsara. Without that, it's difficult to really understand Bodhicitta. So then he asks, this exceptional jewel of a sentient being, unprecedented, how is he born? How is she born? Someone whose wish for others that is not born in others even for themselves. So it's very hard even to comprehend. Somebody has a wish to benefit others that those people themselves do not have. Normal, ordinary wishes for benefit are not like that. We can understand that if somebody has a headache, that person wants to stop having that headache, and we may wish them the same. But the wish of Bodhicitta is different, because the sentient beings that we are talking about may have no clue about wishing for liberation. So it's quite different. They themselves don't have that wish, but we wish that for them. That's the special feature of Bodhicitta, so it makes it really exceptional. Then again, the Bodhisattva is praised yet in another way by praising the merit of Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta accomplishes the twofold purposes of sentient beings, namely the Abhyudaya Nishreyasa, the happiness within samsara, and the liberation from the suffering of samsara. So from that perspective, it is said that it is the seed for the word's joy and the medicine for the word's pain. So since it accomplishes this twofold possible purpose, how can we measure its merit? And there was this verse quoted by the commentator: if Bodhicitta, if the merit that comes from Bodhicitta had material form, then it would fill the whole sky or the whole of space and go beyond that. So that's just to give us an idea. Then it is said that worshipping the Buddhas is surpassed just by the wish to benefit, meaning the Bodhichitta of Aspiration. Then what to say of the Bodhichitta of setting forth? And there you remember, again, there was this example that if somebody were to fill a number of Buddha fields as many as the pebbles in the river Ganga with precious substances and offer them to the Buddhas, and another person just folded one's hands and brought one's mind towards Buddhahood, thinking of obtaining Buddhahood, the second person obtains more merit. So this is to give an idea. Then there are some verses which explain what is the situation for people in the world in general, sentient beings in the world in general, and what a bodhisattva can do for them. So sentient beings in general are just chasing after suffering while wishing or with the thought that they are escaping suffering. And they destroy their own happiness just through a wish of obtaining happiness. Why? Because they're deluded. So they end up, in order to remove a temporary suffering, they end up taking up certain non-virtuous activities of body, speech and mind that are going to cause them much more suffering in future. And a bodhisattva is going to satisfy them with all possible happiness or possible modes of happiness, and also is going to cut away all their sufferings, and also is going to destroy that delusion. So how can we think of a better good person? How can we think of a better friend? And how can we imagine anything more meritorious than doing that? We can also think it in another way. We normally praise somebody who is grateful. So when somebody has received a favor and that person does something in return, we praise that person. Then what should you say of a bodhisattva who actually does something good without somebody doing something to that person? So the bodhisattva is avyaparita sadhu, an unprompted good person. Another example, and this example is in terms of 4 features. So if you think of somebody who prepares a ceremony, a ritual offering for poor people. So they prepare an offering of food, they invite poor people to eat. Well, that person is praised. People who like good acts are going to praise this person as someone who is acting virtuously. When we analyze, though, we can see that this is done towards a limited amount of sentient beings. Even if we give food to 2,000 people, that's still a limited amount. Then it is done only for a limited period of time, just a few hours. And we are only offering food, sometimes not even the most excellent food. Sometimes we do that even with a little bit of contempt, not necessarily very respectfully towards the poor people. Like when people give to beggars, people are not always very, very nice. Like we don't treat the beggars as someone higher. And in fact, this is not going to remove their hunger completely. It's just going to solve the problem for half a day. If we offer them lunch, by dinner time they'll be hungry again. When we compare to what a bodhisattva is intending to do, well, the Bodhisattva is working for a limitless number of sentient beings without thinking it's just this amount. For an unlimited amount of time, the Bodhisattva doesn't think I'm going to stop after a certain amount of eons. It goes on until the sky goes on, and it is the fulfillment of all wishes. It's not just offering some food, but the Bodhisattva strives to fulfill all the sentient beings' wishes. So that's the difference. We can see a difference in terms of the extent, and also the Bodhisattva does that thinking of the sentient beings with Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha, so extremely respectfully. Therefore, the Bodhisattva is the Satrapati, the Lord of gifts, the Lord of these feasts. So, if somebody has negative thoughts towards a Bodhisattva, if one has a literally something like turbidity in one's mind towards a Bodhisattva, well, the Buddha said that that person is going to stay in the hells for as many eons as the moments of that turbidity. And then you remember there was this discussion about how can you say that? We don't find this kind of negative result even when somebody with a negative mind draws blood from a Buddha. So how is it possible? A Buddha is still much higher than a Bodhisattva. How could that be? But the answer is, well, strictly speaking, when we say that about a Buddha, in fact it can happen. It cannot happen. A Buddha is already immune from that possibility. But for a Bodhisattva it is possible, and since ultimately Buddhas come from Bodhicitta, they come from Bodhisattvas, if somebody disrespects, does something unpleasant towards a Bodhisattva, one has done something very negative towards Buddhahood itself and towards the benefit of all sentient beings. That's the logic. Furthermore, on the other hand, if somebody develops a good, serene disposition of mind towards a Bodhisattva, then that person is going to obtain even a greater amount of merit. And it is also pointed out that if we want to do something unpleasant towards a Bodhisattva, we need to actually make a significant effort, because it's quite natural that one has a good disposition towards Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas, also thanks to the articles of attraction, the Sangraha Vastus that we discussed briefly, are immediately inspiring some kind of good disposition of mind. So that comes without effort. On the other hand, to have a negative mind towards Bodhisattvas require significant effort. The example for the amount of merit that one obtains was the example of, imagine that the sentient beings in all the 10 directions do not have eyes. And imagine that somebody with Maitri Citta, so with Maitri, is able to restore the eyes of all sentient beings. That would be a great amount of merit. Well, if somebody sees a Bodhisattva and sees the Bodhisattva with this prasanna citta, this serene, well-disposed mind, that's uncountable more merit. So this is just to give an idea. It's a lot of merit. And the last verse says that I bow to the bodies of those in whom that jewel that best jewel of a mind is born, towards whom even wrongdoing is a cause of happiness, I go for refuge in those minds of happiness. And the commentator points out that this refers both to one's happiness and others' happiness. So even if somebody does something wrong towards a bodhisattva, the bodhisattvas are such field of goodness and merit that somehow that connection will produce some goodness or something beneficial for them. Very often we find that those who do something wrong to bodhisattvas change their minds and turn their minds towards the Dharma by encountering these great bodhisattvas. On the other hand, for the bodhisattva, him or herself, also, it is the case that they are not afflicted by acts of wrongdoing by other people. On the other hand, even that causes them some kind of happiness. So this is this is what we have read. We have completed the whole first chapter.